You know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
What's good, y'all? It's Avalanche, and welcome back to the channel. So, if you've heard, Need for Speed Unbound dropped the Hot Pursuit inspired Volume 8 Cops vs. Racers update a few days ago. I played it for a couple hours, and I've gathered up some thoughts to share with you guys on what I think about the content so far. First off, we're going to talk about the cop career. It's a new progression system in Need for Speed Unbound that gives players challenges to unlock things such as pursuit tech and cop cars like the Range Rover SVR, Porsche 911 Targa 4S, and Nissan Skyline GTR 34, just to name a few. The game starts you off in a Crown Vic, and as you complete more cop challenges, you'll unlock more cop cars. The League is also still here, so if you log on to Need for Speed Unbound online, you can do some racer challenges to unlock cars and participate in community objectives once they're unlocked. The new Hot Pursuit mode can be played with up to 8 players who take turns in teams of 4. You start off the first round as either a cop or a racer, and then in the next round, you switch teams to the opposite role. Each round takes place on the same track, and depending on how you do as a cop and racer, plays into your cash payout at the end of the session. Pursuit Tech makes a return to the series with weapons such as spike strips, EMPs, and the ESF battering ram. ESFs are introduced in Need for Speed Rivals as a field of electricity around your car that can be used for defense to counter EMPs or offense to damage other drivers, but now they're a little strange. They're now purple shields you can use to ram racers off the road while taking minimum damage while colliding into other objects and drivers. As for racers, they don't get access to weapons. Unbound's take on this game mode is that racers outrun the cops and survive by crossing the finish line while making the most of the gas stations that are within the race route to refill their health. Expect a lot of cops this time around though, as it's not just player cops, but there's also AI cops that are chasing you as well. You can also play as a cop when you get busted, as it shakes up the old spectate everyone until they cross the finish line gig. So this feature is not that bad, and it helps keep you in the mode so you don't feel left out. Now, let's talk about the issues I have with this update. The balancing between cops and racers isn't the greatest. Racers not being able to use pursuit tech to defend themselves from cops during a chase is a missed opportunity. It's a strange design choice considering the fact that in Hot Pursuit 2010, both cops and racers were able to use their own set of gadgets after a small cooldown. Pursuit tech such as jammers and turbo could have made a nice return too, as cop players can use EMPs to disable your car's engine for a few moments during these Hot Pursuit chases. And there's not much you can do to avoid it besides hitting the brakes and swerving all over the place, while hoping you don't get shunted to oblivion. Cops also have infinite nitrous, which I find pretty funny, and the ability to teleport a few yards in front of racers every 5 seconds when granted permission. This can cause issues where police players can teleport the entire chase instead of pursuing racers with effort. Keep in mind, since players who are cops are not restricted to checkpoints, they can pretty much freestyle around the map and go beyond the race's finish line and wait there to place spike strips or cause a roadblock if they wanted to. The last issue I really have with this update are the checkpoint placements. Some are placed very lazily depending on the event you're in, and they don't suit the pacing of the cars at all. By this I mean, they feel like they're placed by someone who doesn't even play racing games. Not even GTA 5's land race checkpoints are this bad in some cases. Sometimes a checkpoint would be placed a little too early or a little too late on a turn, making it easier for cops to hit you since they are not restricted by checkpoints. Some checkpoints have a very small radius because of how strangely placed they are on the road, so you can graze past one and miss the checkpoint by a few inches, and this will cause you to respawn on the road again at a very slow speed, making it easier for cops to hit you and knock you out completely. Despite this update being a bit rough, I can see some potential in these issues getting fixed in a future update, if that even happens to be honest, as the team working on Need for Speed Unbound is very small right now, and they're doing what they could to keep the game alive, so here are my suggestions as the average player. Give racers pursuit tech to fight back and counter cops. Doing this would make chases feel more fair instead of unbalanced and overwhelming, because cops are pretty much broken in this case right now, like they're super overpowered. Racers having weapons gives them a higher chance of survival if they use their weapons correctly and drive well. It's not a hot pursuit mode without giving racers gadgets to use too, like spike strips, EMPs, turbo, jammers, even stun mines for New Speed Rivals if I want to add in something funny. Maybe even add a mode where there's no weapons at all, so battling cops who are players are better to tackle and escape, while making it more of a challenge to those who are actually playing as cops. Another suggestion is increase vehicle health. I've seen some people mention that you can use repair kits and such like that. I haven't tried them just yet, but personally it would make sense for this mode to have a bit more health. If you really think about it, you're getting knocked left and right every 2 seconds, so that being added should not be bad. A bonus complaint is from the community itself and how some YouTubers and people who play Unbound mention the fact that you can't play as a cop in free roam. To be honest, I think that's a missed opportunity as well. But if they're gonna pull that off, Need for Speed Unbound is basically gonna turn into Need for Speed Rivals 2.0. So if Criterion ever thinks of that, they need to execute it properly. Maybe even add AI drivers so chase online to make the city even more alive, but that's a discussion for another day. With that said, this concludes what I think about the update so far, along with my suggestions and feedback. I honestly think that the update is a cool addition to Unbound, but I'm not going to praise it and say it's the greatest thing ever, as it's still pretty flawed because of how unbalanced it is. I encourage you, the viewer, to try out the new update yourself if you have Need for Speed Unbound, as don't take my word, but it's a lot better if you play the game yourself to have your own experience. I would like to see what you guys think about the Cops vs. Racer update in the comments, as usually I respond to my comments and I like having a little discussion. So on that note, I'll catch you guys in the next upload and have a good one.